Hello, my name is Zach Lewis, and I am a polyglotist. And what that is, for those of you who don't know, a polyglotist is someone who is either understanding of or possibly fluent in several different languages. And typically, I think the current definition is five or more languages. Then there's hyperpolyglots. I'm not one of those just yet. Just yet. I will be one day. I won't stop till I will. But a very daunting task for I think anybody is learning a language. And I definitely know how complicated it can be because I started learning languages when I was about 10 years old. I was a little too young to understand even the majority of my native language, which is English, from the United States, Ohio. And learning a language is quite a challenging thing at first because you have to entail like, do you want to become fluent? So why are you doing this? What language to pick? There's a lot of them, and I mean there's like 120 to 150 mainstream languages in today's world, and they aren't going anywhere. So you come across a lot of challenges when you decide to embark on the task of learning a language. Um, and one of the biggest things is memorization. People think they have to go about memorizing it and memorizing grammar, vocabulary. But there's much more to it than that. But memorizing isn't exactly how it works. Learning a language mostly entails on facts of immersing yourself with it. Do you have enough resources? Do you have enough material? Do you have enough money to go to the country of origin? Are you already in the country of origin? How fast do you need to know it? And what all do you need to know to get by? Because when you think about it, becoming fluent in a language, I'm fluent in English naturally, uh, and that means I have an infinite understandability and constant refocusing and redirecting consumption of the English language. And definitely because it's my native tongue, it makes it a lot easier. It's not a challenging task for me to walk outside, hear a new word, and be like, oh, it must mean this, due to contextual factors and having the ethos of a language and the ethics and everything down. Ethos means ethics. Um, and there's syntax, lexicon, grammar. So much goes into a language, but your native tongue, even you don't think about. I don't think about grammar structure when I'm trying to say a sentence in English because it's my native tongue. I don't need to. That's a task that's been done for me through growing up in an English-speaking environment. Um, but do you really need fluency in the language you're going to learn? Uh, because that's a lot of knowledge you might not need to know. Like there's a lot of in text stuff. Like I can read a book on computer programming and then recite it. You know, do I need to know that in language? Let's take Arabic for example. Do I need to know how to encode computers and know all the lingo in Arabic, or do I just want to say hello and goodbye? There's a lot of information you don't need to know, and that's I think a big that's what stumps a lot of new bilingualists because you don't have to be a polyglot to learn languages. That's not how it works. Polyglots, we just find learning languages fun. We don't need to be going to. I'm not going to learn German just because I might be going to Germany. I'm going to learn German because it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun task. Polyglots take language learning as a very fun hobby. It's as a lot of people actually end up revolving their lives around it because polyglots have very good business skills in the industry, such as being an ambassador, and I'll talk about that in later videos. Um, but learning a language takes time, of course, uh, and it takes a lot of patience. I didn't learn, Chinese overnight. It took me a long time. I'm still not finished. I'm still not fluent. Um, the same with French. The same with Russian. That they're gonna take time, no matter what. There's no language you can just sit down. If someone says, "Can you go and learn language real fast?" They aren't. I hope at least they don't expect you to be learning it by next week. Um, and I think that's what a lot of people think they can do. They think, oh, well, I'll just go and learn Spanish. I live in America. There's a lot of Spanish people in America, or at least Mexican. But then if you sit down and learn Spanish, if you buy a Spanish book, make sure you're buying one that's Latin American Spanish or Central American Spanish. Um, because then you're going to run into a lot of problems. If you speak proper Spanish to a Mexican, they're not really going to understand what you're saying so much. And I'll talk about that more in later videos as well. This is kind of just an introduction thing. But don't look at learning a language as a daunting task. Look at learning a language as immersing yourself in a whole different culture, learning new etiquette, trying new foods maybe, can help in understanding the influences that went into the language possibly, or the language had an influence on the culture. And that's a big part of the language, because the language isn't just the spoken word. The language is the written word, how you read, how you speak, how you act. Um, so now these aren't necessarily everything you have to cover to learn the language. It makes it easier if you immerse yourself. Now, polyglots, such as myself, we do multiple languages at one time, as a matter of fact. Like today I've studied Arabic, French, and I did a half an hour of Chinese. Actually, I did like an hour, but I only meant to do a half an hour, but it's fun. Writing Chinese, simplified Chinese characters for Mandarin. Uh, and then I'm going to study Swahili after I post this video, probably. And now some people might be asking, if I were to become a polyglot, or maybe I'm already bilingual or trilingual, how would I go about doing this but having enough time to manage? Now, this is a hard thing for even polyglots. Not hard as in, say, the task itself is challenging. It's just you gotta kind of manage your time. But if you're used to it, or maybe like myself, I only go to college. I don't have uh, a job. I just go to college, I work out, and I study languages. That's all I do. So I can manage my time better. And one of the best things you can do, really, is to manage your time. I have, myself, a book such as this. And it's got like the months and stuff like that, little tabs. I don't know if you can see that. Little tabs. Then I use that to write down possibly what I'm going to do that day, or what I want to do that day, or what I'm going to try to cover that day. So it's best definitely to organize. If you're a very untidy, unneat person, this won't be a very fun thing for you to do. You probably should look into some organizational skills before you embark on this kind of journey. But the biggest thing to realize is you have to manage your time appropriately. Like back in my hometown, I unfortunately moved down south. Not unfortunately, but just unfortunately, I guess, through my foreign friends. I do still keep in contact with them, but I had Chinese friends, Korean friends, and Laotian friends. Um, and I can manage my time wisely. Like after school, I'd go to the Taiwanese market, where Taiwan speaks Mandarin primarily. So I had to adapt the dialect a little bit, but if you're surrounded by Taiwanese people and you know Mandarin, the dialect won't be too hard to pick up on. You'll just have to really be careful of how you word things. Not like as if all of a sudden you word something in Mandarin and Taiwanese dialect is going to come out like a cuss word or something like that. It's nothing like that. It's just you got to watch how you say things, or they might not understand. They might ask you to repeat it, and vice versa for yourself as well. But then I managed and I spent my time at school and Sundays at a Korean church, where then I would speak Korean with other Koreans, and we would go through a Korean meal together. And then Laotians I would have lunch with every day. Um, we never spoke Lao. I didn't actually speak Lao at that point in time, which actually I don't necessarily speak Lao right now. I just know some phrases. So that's not really one of the languages I count in my polyglottery, because it's not enough to actually know. I can't go to Laos and then just muster up the knowledge. I'm not that good at Lao yet. Yet that's always the important thing. Always look forward, but keep it in the now. Don't take on too much that you can't handle. So that's some of the beginnings of languages, what must go into it, and some time sources. I'll make further videos. I really don't want to go too far in one video. So I think I'm going to cut it off at this video, but I will try to post my email address Even my phone number. If any of you want to cover or want me to cover a subject or even cover a language or sample a language in the video or do various things on language topics, feel free to email me. Or if you want me to learn your language, feel free to email me. And if you're in the Ohio area, go ahead and hit me up with a text or anything like that, and we can get together to talk about this. So thank you.